Mike Gill and Crash.
Hi, Mike.
Yeah. Hey, Crash. Well, we got a scary one today.
Scary, yeah.
Everybody should be scared. We're bringing you closer to the heat now. Now, this is what I want you people to understand right now. We're in the middle of a takeover. We were invaded by Mexican cartels, Colombian cartels across this country. Really, it was the connection and the partnership with the American cartels, the real distribution, Planet Fitness, your casinos, your racetracks, Vegas. We've got everybody. When you steal trillions, you have to have an operation that can clean trillions. Welcome to the fucking lottery. Right, your lottery, your casinos. That's what we brought you with D. Boomerson when we opened the door to Penn National in the Maine, Churchill Downs. We'll go over it briefly again, but we're going to take you from there, and we're going to go further. Further, what's really going on. See, we're replacing the Mexican cartels with the Chinese cartels, triads, whatever you want to call them, the brown people and the yellow people. We have a shift, a dangerous shift. If you're afraid of some farmer from Colombia, what about the wealthiest Chinese individual buying land next to water supplies? See, now I think that ups the situation. Now, if China, say for instance, has the Pandora's box, has the Epstein files, they could be blackmailing, just like the Colombian, and by the same congressmen and senators that you have now. And the fact that they're in place means these politicians are already bought and paid for. The DOJ sold them protection. And there's we are. So let's take that ride of exposing what could be the next attack on this country. They're poisoning you, taking the profits, buying your land, buying your agriculture, and talking their ass to your water supply. What's to see? Well, let's show you. All right, let's take a little ride to darkness. Okay, let's hit our boy, U.S. Attorney Llewellyn, first. The Department of Justice, the same individual that took all our evidence. Everything you see here, he's got. Got it? In fact, from now on, all these podcasters, and I would also would ask the people who follow us on Twitter on this to share this with the Department of Justice and the FBI, the DEA. Remember I knocked on all those doors? That's what got things moving. We did it on video. Let them tell them you're watching. You're watching. Let's park these bastards on their doorstep. They're protecting them. Let's let them own it. Do you remember those documentation of Llewellyn with all that evidence list that went to Barr and Sessions? They owned it, which is why they sent Flynn. So our boy Llewellyn is no longer the U.S. attorney, but he owns it, and so does Barr. Right? So in other words, we push that too. Okay. Next. Now, I believe we're going to take you back to the racetrack. Remember, we did the last video we did with D. We showed you Penn National, the same company that wanted to pay me $25 million for my silence. That you've seen in that deposition. We're married to the mob. You've seen the deposition. Then that's a sworn deposition. You see Churchill Downs now. That's the other casino in Maine, the racetracks. Why is it important? Why is it different? Because they can give you state licensing, gambling. When you're working for the racetrack, you get license. You work for the casino, you get license. How's that? All right, we'll go on. But that opens the door to immigration, distribution. Okay, that's how that goes. And how it went across the country. You know what? Who did I tell you was running West Virginia? It was the cartel, right? Do you know it was Penn National? Charlestown Racetrack owned by Penn National. They are the highest of all fentanyl deaths per capita. Penn National again, boys and girls. Let's follow them. We're going to follow them to Maine. Let's see how they affected the people of Maine's life, which is the same criminal network as in New Hampshire. It is the Pandora Papers. It is the Pandora's box. That is the network. They are in the box. Penn National's in the box. Why do you think they wanted to pay me? Remember, I didn't sue them. But you've seen the evidence I presented, and you see the evidence here now. Okay, hit it, Crash. So now we know that how they get there. Now, what I want you to see is this is a communication with this guy, Flynn's people, Tuckaroa. He had a few of them. Okay, now let's take a look here. I can read it better here.
What is his name? Like, I don't.
Can you? Is Jim Teresio.
Okay.
Okay, now listen to this now. Ready? Teresa, not Carrie, not Teresa. I'm talking on the phone. Teresa worked as the office manager for Sidney Powell. I talked to Teresa too. Oh, there's more witnesses. You don't give everybody.
Okay, wait. Carissa was Sidney Powell and Teresa was Flynn? Or how was that?
No, Teresa was Sidney Powell. Carissa was told me was Flynn. Now we
Carissa, okay.
found out. Now we found out later that Carissa, through Elvire, worked for Powell. We
Right.
found out from Stacy Burke the same.
Okay.
So Carissa was working with Flynn too, meaning
Flynn.
they're all together. But that was the representation. So let's keep going. Did you get everything up to date? Working on it. Now watch this. Watch the video, Married to the Mob. That's the one we just showed you on D, the deposition. It was a deposition, money laundering into the casinos. I had gotten their wires, and it ties to Liberty Mutual, Penn National. They offered me $25 million. Now, why this is important, it means General Flynn knows. You know all this evidence he's taking? He's leveraging on blackmailing with that. So Flynn knows. All right, hit it. So see, so that's Aaron Day. That's Flynn. That's O'Keefe. They're all this. Okay? Let's take a look. Now, this is an email.
A DM. It's a DM on Twitter, right?
No, this is an email.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know how your email is laid out, so that's okay.
Yeah, that's my email. And this is to Carissa Ketchel. So
I was going to say, it's very blurry, so it's Carissa
It is. Married to the Mob, sworn deposition. You will hear them offering me $50 million. 25 came from Liberty, and then covering Shaheen, the IRS, Banking Department, Department of Revenue. Where it gets really interesting, Penn National Racetrack and casinos. Their lawyer in Mississippi from Penn National owns 5 casinos in Mississippi. They offered me $25 million again, backed up with emails and my paralegal testimony. The funny thing is that I wasn't suing Penn National. They were buying Rockingham Park in Salem, New Hampshire. They were going to put a casino racetrack plugged into the laundering system, the Pandora's box. That laundering system launders for the deep state across this country. We've got their wires. Whoa, we did get their wires. And you know what? It only took out Steve Wynn. Right, took out Steve Wynn. And the deal with Wynn was buying the land from the mafia to build his cartel. They got those too. Why? Because I intercepted the wires and sent it to the Department of Justice. That's right. And they only went for it because they had to. The Boston Globe put it up. All right, hit it. So now we know that was Flynn, right? Now we know that Flynn had all this evidence, everything that's happening in Maine. And why Flynn's important? Flynn is the DOJ. He was the instrument of the DOJ of the insurrection plot, right? Is the instrument of blackmail. Everything we're seeing with Flynn and the Epstein files And we're going to be doing a podcast about that, about the doors. But they're blocking those, each and every one. Now, do you know what this is?
Blurry.
I remember this. But what it, and they and I what it is it's the text messages from inside the cartel. One of my top witnesses. He showed us we had a manufacturing company owned by the Chinese and run by the Chinese making fentanyl. Why? They're not bringing it across that border, not the southern border. They're making it here.
Okay,
Okay?
you're the dark color text, right? And
Yes.
so I mean, it does. You can read it. It says, "Do you think you wrote? Do you think these guys are
Guys are selling
selling
drugs.
drugs?"
Yes, fentanyl
Yes,
is being
fentanyl.
manufactured stateside now. And if you go through my other text, you'll find out that it was in Boston. So the Chinese here, and they're making fentanyl. And what you've got to realize is, boys and girls, ready? The poppy is going out of business. Fentanyl. The brown people are losing the business to the yellow people. You see, that's what we're showing. That's right. It's only money, right?
Right.
And it's only about catching it. So, but that also tells you that Lullen knows this. Lullen had this. And do you remember the set of evidence? Do you know what happened? That was the tractor trailer full of fentanyl. Where do you think it came from? Hospitals, pharmacies, and a factory. Okay. Now, when I called out all these people and say, this is how it's going, ESPN, all that, right? Numia Bombardier, and I'm warning the people of Penn National, and I'm sorry, Maine, how they're coming in. When I outed them, and it was all on video, feds charged 5 illegal aliens arrested in central Pennsylvania. 2 of them were for murder. Right after I put it out, they're hiding on the backsides of racetracks across this country. See if you can find a white face on the backside of a racetrack. Go ahead. I only spent 50 fucking years there. Okay. So now you know how they're getting in. If you shake the tree, there they go running. That's the cartel, boys and girls. And you gave them a license. Hit it. Now, do you remember? Shannon Donnelly. Remember Married to the Mob? We just did it with D. Mafia alive and well. Why intercept the wires? I did. You've seen the wires. Watch Mafia Alive and Well. Uh-oh. Wynn Casino planned a 1.6 billion casino in the land. Oh, wait a minute. It's tied to organized crime. Keep going. State
Now,
gambling
wait a
ring.
minute. Wynn lied. He was lied to over Boston land crime links. What exactly?
I'm sorry. I thought it was the other one. I'm having a hard time. Wynn lied to over Boston land crime links. Now remember, who broke that story? I intercepted the wires. It, excuse me.
So Wynn was lied to by who?
No. Wynn lied. What happened was that Mafia Alive and Well was the wire transfers from Wynn's casino to the mob heads. Glass Slipper, Foxy Lady. It was the distribution, money laundering, but it was the cartel. And it was the cartel land that Wynn was buying. So when the regular asked Wynn, did you know that they were connected to the mob? He lied. But then later on, he had to resign because he knew who they were. Okay. So Wynn in these casinos, do you know Wynn Casinos was part ownership of Penn National?
National, yeah.
There you go. See, you say, so this is, all right, hit the next one, Crash. So you see, I caught the casino.
And
I
this is
caught the Penn National move. I caught Wynn. Wynn resigns. And you don't see a casino in Salem, New Hampshire, but you do. And they do in Maine. And they open the immigration door in there. This was Thursday, charged with fraud,
wire fraud.
conspiracy, commit wire fraud, crimes that can carry up to 20 years in jail. Carmen Ortiz, remember the U.S. attorney? That was the one before Lullen. I gave this shit to her. You remember Marisa Pizzuto? They're controlling Carmen Ortiz. What did I say I caught? Their wires. What did they say? Well, we had wires. From me, you assholes. Excuse me. See, that was the woman who was married to a state trooper. They were getting a divorce, and he just happened to be a bag man. And I trashed them all down. It didn't go in Salem. Wynn resigned. What
Where,
was it?
where's Win now?
I don't know.
Okay. I don't know if we knew if we.
I'm not sure, but that's who he is. That's who that was. Listen, again, I've said this before. We're looking for the Grand Canyon. Everything that stole your trillions has to clean trillions. And here's the purpose. They're not stealing it not to use it, not to live large, but they've got to convince you that they made it somewhere clean. I don't know. I placed a bet, the Penn National. It goes ashore and I came back.
Right.
There you go. All right, hit it. But see, now we're taking you right through all those. So now you know these are all basics of facts. Now, when all of a sudden people saying, the Colombian El Chapo cartel, Sinaloa, was plugged into Dick Anagos. That's distribution. That's Planet Fitness. That's why he owns all these restaurant chains, right? It housing, distribution, casinos. He owns the casino. I mean, how fucking blind you got to be? I mean, Jesus. But anyhow, he owns all the casinos, right? Well, guess who was building his apartment complex? Stellar Arms. What I'm thinking is maybe the biggest in the state, right? Paid by HUD too, so they're stealing from you again. Approved by Shaheen. Oh, wait a minute. You know who was building it? Guerrero's Guzman, arrested building Dick Anagos's building, selling arms. Fucking Sinaloa, we're working for Anagos. Right. This is El Chapo's cousin, right-hand man. His whole crew was the Sinaloa cartel. I mean, this gets too good. And you know who gave them up? I did. How's that, assholes? But I didn't. No, I knew that was that. But I didn't know how deep that this Anagos was.
Right.
And we found out. But by just banging on that door, there it is. And you know who represented him? Ruoff. Remember a video called Ruoff when he lets Walker off, gives Walker? Ruoff was part of this corruption. He's now a judge. He represented El Chapo, a cousin. And you know where they were going to move El Chapo once they busted him? Google it. Bedford, fucking New Hampshire.
I was going to say New Hampshire.
Do you know that little guy, John? Just John, remember at the DRA?
Oh, yeah.
They were going to move him there. And you know how close he was to Anagos? Half mile.
Yeah.
Wow, just another numeratical fucking miracle. How does it do it? Hit
it. I forget where we are. We're at Ariel's tweet. Is that right?
Right after the win, we're on.
That's what I have.
Sinaloa cartel. All right, Ariel's tweet. Right. Now, wait a minute. This gets good. Ariel. What the fuck is Ariel? He's part of a Flynn organization. He's a handler. But you know what he does? He has all my fucking evidence. Who did he get my evidence for? Remember all those emails and text messages? December 18th? Ariel has them. Now, what is Ariel? Before I speak on this, what did he come out with? Wait a minute. Epoch Times. I broke that. Gulfstream Park, I broke that too. You're going to find out too about James O'Keefe. That was me. He was working with me. The Sinaloa cartel, I caught them thieves. How's this now, boys and girls? Now, when Ariel, working with Michelle Moore, who might be the Antichrist, no shit. I mean, I've met some evil bastards in these 20 years. She's front and center. This thing with Jesus and religion, and I mean dark. Now, they were only sending me to Arizona to be murdered, right? That's what happened. The broken convention saved my life for at least a moment. But Ariel turns around and calls up the roundup of the Sinaloa cartel. What? Did you hear that? I didn't see any news on that. And who's involved? All of our politicians, right? Councilmen. I hit another list. We got a big list. We've got all these politicians.
Judges, prosecutors, treasurers, all kinds of everybody.
Right.
Secretary of State,
So how does Ariel know that? How does he know that? Flynn does. The DOJ does. Oh, look, there's some more. Bill Gates marketing up. Oh, we got
Maricopa.
judges. Right. So also gives you an indication what the cartel controls, which is what the network in New Hampshire is. And you remember, I found them through their deeds.
Now, just
So
so
he-
people know, Mike, that tweet, if they are looking for it, that's not current. That was about a year ago on Ariel's page.
Yes, it was while
Okay.
I was going to Arizona. All right, you can hit it back. So this guy, while I went to Arizona, Michelle, right? Ariel's talking to Liz Harris. And they're communicating with this. I'm supposed to get smoked. When I get smoked, guess who breaks out and finds these politicians in Arizona? Don't forget, I went there about finding those politicians to the deeds. Then we found out that they blocked the deeds. They won't show you them on politicians. How did Ariel find them? Well, wait a minute. I asked him, listen, shithead, how'd you come up with the names? Through the deeds. No, you didn't. They closed the deeds. Poop, he took that off. Right?
He deleted, I guess.
Deleted that.
You don't have a screenshot of that anymore, or at least you don't have it available.
Let's just say, all right, let's keep some tricks in the bag, all right? Now, we know who Ariel is. The asshole was working with them to get me smoked in Arizona. Turned around, was going to tell you he found the cartel. I'm gone. Flynn turns around and starts leveraging and using blackmail with all my other evidence. Ariel's using. Who do you think Ariel got? The deeds? He didn't know shit. He talked Times. He wrote the articles. Gulfstream, the story of my life. He's assuming it. Hit it. You see, that was a smoke show. My evidence. Wait a minute now. You notice how the brown people are going to jail? Oh, reputed Mexican lord Ismael El Mayo Zambada expected to plead guilty. No shit, guilty. All right, hit it. We're having a run on cartel members getting sacked. Well, El Chapo's son, guilty. Drug trafficking case, and he's talking. All in the news. Hit it. Uh-oh, that's the Gulf Coast. They shut that down. We got to run on cartel members south of the border. Hit it. Now, do you see what we mean moving away from the brown people? Remember, the game is fentanyl. Chinese chemists are coming into this country. That's what I found in Boston. You see, so this is the shift. This is where we're leaving. Now, remember, it's the same network. The Chinese are plugged into the Pandora's box. The same Pandora Papers that dropped $935 billion. Now they charge in the same Penn National. Remember, when I caught them moving to Salem, that's exactly what they were doing. And don't forget, Wynn's still part of the owner of Penn National. See, so what I'm trying to tell you is the operation is in place. It's an American laundering system, which is why the DOJ protects it, which is why the IRS is laundering the money, and which is why no one comes for help, even when it's this obvious. Hit it.
I was going to say, and everybody's ignoring it.
Everybody knows.
So
Uh-oh. We go back to Ariel again. Wait a minute. The guy's a fucking mind reader. Drug trafficking, human trafficking. No kidding. Hold on. Let me see. I'd like to read this.
I didn't go back and get this one. I didn't have time. Sorry.
All right. It's okay.
This one was from this a year ago as well, or
Right.
early. It looks like
So
early last year.
Right. But what you're seeing is that, watch this. I'll read some out.
New Hampshire.
So we've got human traffic, money laundering, drug. New Hampshire, one giant cartel. How'd that asshole know? We don't even know his name. We've never heard his voice. No one's ever spoke to him. Listen, when your children ask how you bought this shit, when they asked those questions, you didn't know who he was? You couldn't recognize nothing? Right. Okay, just saying. Jesus. My kids will be able to say, Dad was on their ass. New Hampshire's one giant cat. The Roger Stone, Michael Flynn, Jared Kushner, Patrick Burns. Wait a minute. Isn't he pro-Trump? So if you say Jared Kushner or whatever, you're going to ram him up Trump's ass, right? They can. What's also Israel. They control the airport out there, the police, the government, the FBI. Now, who told you that? The DEA. How did he know that? All of that, it's a miracle. We're on the same thing. All media personnel is met up. Oh, by the airport. Anagos owns the company that unload the airplanes. How do you get the cocaine in or heroin in at that point? Now the fentanyl, that's it. One of Aganos's bus was on an airplane in that same airport. I digress. This is why container, the same small circle jerk into with one detail outside. The narrative contained is the first breaking story about the principal topic. Oh, ready? All of this gives you through a chain of command. Patrick Howley worked for Breitbart and Epoch Times. Son of a bitch, he got Howley too. Remember the video? Remember Epoch Times? I mean, Jesus, what a coincidence. Roger Stone's best buddy. Yeah, they were business partners, big league politics. Remember? You forgot that. Breitbart from the start showed this is a limited hangout. Tim Pool, Whitney Webb, Corey Lewandowski. Corey Lewandowski was my drop for President Trump, except for he was giving all this shit to the cartel.
When you say drop, you mean your contact?
Yes.
For Trump, yeah.
Evidence drop, yeah. Wagon hitting bumping parts. Let me see. Some direction, a few left to the whole story. All right, ready? James O'Keefe is involved in corruption in New Hampshire. Son of a bitch, really? The son of a Aaron Day and O'Keefe? Who do you think is sending all these libertarian assholes after me? These moles. Hey, you know what? This Patricia, did you know? I didn't know. She was a libertarian politician. She was even working for Vermont, pushing a politician there. And she didn't know that Aaron Day and Eileen were the presidents of the Libertarian Party.
Yeah, you just found that out through an accident.
Right.
Yeah.
From those assholes talking. All right, let's go on. Mike Gill, who earned hundreds of millions of dollars throughout his life and ran a multi-successful business exposing O'Keefe and his connection to the underworld. Wow. And you know what that underworld is? The Mossad. That's who he works for. And what does O'Keefe do? Take pictures and don't tell you. They call that blackmail.
Right.
And then he plugs them into Flynn. And Flynn and him are partners, which is why we showed you last time with D pictures of Brakelin, your favorite munchkin, and Aaron Day. Bad Santa. All right? Because James O'Keefe gave Mike Gill information on certain things, one being an assassination on Mike Gill's life. They don't have to guess it. Aaron Day was in the room with one. Aaron Day recorded Kill Gill. Aaron Day recorded the Inspector General of the Treasury saying they have a mole in my office. Now, do you know why they're building this wall? Why they're all coming from them? Because they'd all go to jail. I mean, Aaron Day only fixed a Senate race. That's how you got Hassan. Okay, James O'Keefe. Okay, James O'Keefe gave up 6 state troopers who were afraid they were going to be killed because they knew about the human and drug trafficking rings. And O'Keefe more than likely told Cabal's deep state members that these state troopers were ready to talk. They gave all of them up, not just the 6 state troopers. Most of them could handle themselves. I'm telling you, they gave up an old woman who worked in bingo. Turns out they own bingo too. And I've got those on. It was those brave people that can't defend themselves. And that was Aaron Day and that was O'Keefe. But again, how does Ariel know?
Right.
And then he turns around and so do you see how James O'Keefe is protecting corruption? He was the reason those state proofs for their life. Aaron Day and O'Keefe were the reason then for all of those witnesses. They were the reason for blocking the case. Aaron Day's partner, then he get married. Eileen Landy. It was the wife couldn't testify against the spouse. So they and her, she was the paralegal who could talk all these languages on the phone, who went to work for an Israeli military company in Massachusetts.
Huh. Imagine that.
They really, and she was fixing the cases so the cartel can leverage me, saying he didn't bring any evidence. They canceled out the evidence and the witnesses because they didn't comply, because they were the paralegal that made me think that they did. It was a setup. I was supposed to take the 50 then, keep my hundreds of millions, and betray a country. Well, here we are. And a lot of these people were up against me, Patrick Mark original. They're not from here. They're not Americans. They're in it for the money, folks. We've got more. All right, hit it. Now, let's take us back. Now, did you know Maine and New Hampshire border Canada? Did you know who Canada's best friends are right now? And as we're throwing them with tariffs, they're making deals with China. Did you know that they had a military, what you call it, practice, a military joint operation practice?
Yeah.
China and Canada. Isn't that interesting?
Was that recent?
Within the last 2 years.
Okay, because
And they got called
they've been
out
doing that a lot with. I saw that China.
Right. So we have the border problem. We have a Chinese problem, and we pissed off Canada. Hit it.
Sorry, my cat's bothering me right
That's
now.
okay. This cat's got a tail 1.5 miles long. I'm not sure it's a cat. Might be a monkey. Border Patrol reports. Now, this is recent. Highest monthly arrest in 24 years. Maine Canadian border, son of a. How do you like that? Huh? What a coincidence again.
What was the date on this? Do you know? Because
It got to be pretty recent. I just popped it the other day.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, hit it. So now we know they're getting arrested. Now, you ready? I think this is the next one. Uh-oh. Land that's owned by the Chinese. Can you blow that up a pad, Tad? Do you see that big red fucking spot there? That's China. All right? That's Chinese-owned land. There's New Hampshire border. Remember, we weren't owned by the Chinese. We were dealing with the Sinaloa cartel. I stopped the move into New Hampshire. Now, they were already in Maine, but not like this. Listen, if they put the racetrack in Salem, New Hampshire, ready? Thinking caps. Do you think they put one in Maine? Really? Impossible. Never mind, there's never should be a racetrack in Maine. Now, so the people of Maine and this country, why is that? Why is that? It's the entry in there. And it'll be a trafficking entry. You're not just trafficking children from South America. You're going to be trafficking our children. It goes to Asia.
Right. And that upper area there in Maine is pretty barren, isn't it?
Barren. It's like New Hampshire. Remember I told you these contact after a certain spot over like Manchester? I mean, it's just squirrels. Maine, it's worse.
Yeah, okay.
They're gone. Remember that Steve Robinson was talking about marijuana?
Yeah.
Listen, fentanyl. I know what you have. I know the problem with it. The Chinese moving into the marijuana business. Some of those people in Maine don't like that. That's us. It's okay for you to sell fentanyl with the Chinese, but we'll leverage you because we want to be in that pot business, right? Listen, pot's not killing you. Fentanyl is. And that human trafficking, you just opened the corridor. It's going to come in from, they're even telling you, come in from Canada into Maine and New Hampshire. But there it is. And, okay, hit it, Crash. Because I was going to go there, and I know I popped it already. China's richest man, right? Bought 67 million worth of New Hampshire land at 4 times its assessed value. Whoa! The land is tied directly to the state water supply. Hey, nothing to see here. They're taking their fentanyl money and buying your land. It's what Anagos did in the Sinaloa cartel. It's Planet Fitness, distribution and all. So now they just bought the water supply next to New Hampshire. Are you seeing this? Hit
Right.
it. Tiny company with China announces big purchase of Trump cryptocurrency. What? The Chinese and investing in Trump's cryptocurrency. Hit it.
That's your last image there.
Right. The thing here is Trump's being blackmailed. That's the Epstein files. You know who knows? Russia knows. The Chinese knows. They know. That's what's compromising our Senate and our Congress. That's what opened our borders. You think the borders are closed? They opened the back door. Nice job.
And nobody's looking at Maine.
No one's talking shit. When Steve's talking, Robinson, here you go. You ready? If you're going to uncover all this and come forward with it, you can't play politics. When Tucker goes, oh, he's only the Republican reporter, only friend. Tucker maybe runs for president, may want Maine. So let's talk some bullshit about politics in Maine. It ain't politics. These people don't care if you're Republicans or Democrats. They don't care if you're poor or rich. They don't care if you're black or white. They care about money. That's the door. Stop fucking around. And that's to you too, Tucker, and these other people I'm talking to. Listen, I've always told you the truth. There's entities out there that are watching what we're doing, which is why I had to do this like this. All right? We've got them in. We're going to do a podcast coming up, and we're going to call it Certain Doors. But I'm going to leave you with what this is. Now think about this. Ready? And then what'll lead to the next podcast. Maxwell's the door. Maxwell gets you to the Department of Justice because it was under her protection that she blackmailed and extorted and money laundered. That's who Epstein was. And remember, that's why Maxwell was in New Hampshire with Shaheen. So remember, I'm telling you, is a door. How does that door with Maxwell lead to Shaheen and New Hampshire and Lullen? Do the numbers. Impossible. You know, there's a scene in Casino. De Niro calls out this guy, one of the people, managers of the slot machines. And he goes, hey, did you see him get that jackpot? He goes, yeah. People win. Did you see him get the second jackpot? He goes, yeah, it's possible. And he goes, ready? He goes, here's how I know he cheated. It's impossible. Now, this is impossible. To Maxwell, to Shaheen, to Lullen, to New Hampshire. Hello. Door number one. Closed. Unless you think they put her in Club Fed. Trump's own attorney, Todd Blanche, goes, nothing to see here, boys and girls. Right? And then they put Ed Martin in as the assistant director of the FBI with Bongino and Patel. I mean, the three fucking stooges. And where did Martin come from? Uh-oh. Flynn.
Yeah.
Now, one door. Now that we're on Flynn, give me another door. Tina Peters. Trump just came out. We got to let her go. This is a miscarriage of justice. Listen, she was working with Flynn and Lindell at the time. She was guiltier than shit, just like Stacy Burke, Liz Harris, and Shelby Bush. Guilty. Right. We'll get back to you, Stacy. Now, Peters. Trump. Peters gets the deal. Boom. Peters could have given you Flynn, could have given you Patrick Burns. And when you shook Lindell a little bit, he goes, I was triggered by Flynn.
Flynn, yeah.
Beautiful. See, this is what happens when you pick idiots. All right. Now, door number two. Bang, that's close too. Peters. She'll get a deal and it'll be silence. Maxwell's off like a prom dress. You won't find her again, and you won't open the Epstein files. And why is Peters important? Because it opens the insurrection plot by the DOJ, orchestrated by you and your favorite, General Flynn. The same shithead on December 18th reaching out to me and all these people getting in this because they knew from the DOJ that I was the Pandora's box. I was another door. That door had to be controlled. And then it had to be bribed. Then it had to be trying to join in the gang. He's the greatest. Right. Now that's a door. Wait a minute. That door with Patrick Burns, Lindell, goes to Arizona. Remember the Arizona meeting, broken convention, what was heard on tape that they have? And they listen, you know how many tapes there must be? I bet you there's 1,000 or two. Right? They all
I
know.
know,
They
yeah.
get your ass. Insurance policy, blackmail at Matthew Tuckeroni. He Tuckeroni'd it up his ass, but he's got a video. Now, the next move is go, we got to shut that down. Liz Harris, Shelby Bush. That's the insurrection, too. If they've got Peters, hey, listen, what Burns gave Peters, the 700,000, he gave the same to Shelby Bush, and that's on tape. As Shelby Bush is saying, the CIA, including Vandersteel, pinhead, on tape. Now, that's the insurrection there, too. Well, wait a minute. Who was in that they were referring to? Stacy Burke. Now, Stacy Burke was in the club. Generally, when they kick your ass out of the club, they seek revenge. She was seeking a lawsuit. Now, listen, she turned down 400,000. She's in it for the money. She held on to that tape that I spoke to her for a year and didn't say she had it. And they attacked me for the credibility of that meeting because that was their blackmail piece. Remember? Blackmail. Gill's evidence, which is why she started trickling down even the tape, even the connection with my evidence through Flynn, Powell, and Carissa to Trump. He knows. Of course he knows. Why didn't he pull the trigger? Because the Epstein files. Okay, now wait a minute. Maxwell closed. Peters, insurrection. Arizona, insurrection. Stacy Burke. Stacy Burke will take the money. So if you think she's saving you, get over that. Now, what's left? What's left to incriminate the Department of Justice? Remember, what Peters incriminates the Department of Justice in Flynn with the insurrection plot. Stacy Burke does the same within that group. That tape of the Arizona meeting tells you the insurrection plot and how they did it and who was part of it. And I throw the broken convention on top. So what's left? I want you all to put your thinking caps on and go, well, how are we going to incriminate the DOJ? What's left? Oh, we are having the insurrection. I don't know. How about the guy on December 18th that they were reaching out and communicating with emails and text messages on the phone for hours about the insurrection? Me.
Hours and days, weeks.
3 weeks,
3 weeks
on that every
after.
day. And then I'm in Arizona and find out Flynn's there. And I was only being sent there to be murdered. And when I took a right to the broken convention, I told nobody, which is why Michelle sent a couple CIA agents. Lockwood got his card. She knew too. Michelle set me up, gave me them locations. Why they sent the CIA? They had to know how I knew the broken convention. Because I'm a fucking genius. You know, I got Sununu. Listen, I only made hundreds of millions of dollars. Ask Ariel. And what did I bring to the table? I went to school to be a seminarian. You know, I thought I could save you. Save the children. Turns out, maybe I'm going to. Now, so what's left? Mike Gill's Pandora's box. Mike Gill in the Arizona meeting with the witnesses to the insurrection of General Flynn. Now, is there another one? Insurrection DOJ. Pandora's box, Lullen DOJ. Lullen the DOJ to the Attorney General of the United States. Listen, I'm the last one standing. And do you know why they left me for last? Because they got to break me or none of this is any good. So what they do is they take care of the loose ends. Although Maxwell and the Epstein files, we've got the same names. You get her, open that, you find me. You don't think you find Bill Shaheen, the campaign manager of Hillary? Hey, did you see Hillary saying I'm backing Trump on this a little bit about blocking the Epstein files? No shit, she's in it too.
Yeah.
I mean, What do you want? Right? And they were all there. They're laundering the money from there. You've got you, and if you track that money, you go back into the Senate and the Congress. See, so this is what I'm leaving you. Now, Crash hasn't seen The Godfather, so when I refer to The Godfather, she goes, I don't know. Maybe you're the only one, but there's a scene in
Yeah.
The Godfather where they say the Godfather goes, I had Luke Cabrasi. Hey, I met Luke Cabrasi before. I'll end it with that little story. Luke Cabrasi put a gun to his head and said, your brains or your name's going to be on that contract. Now, if you don't see me, it's because I chose the latter.
The
Hey,
brain.
listen, we all die, right? I'm 69. Let's go out like a warrior. There's no way. But there's where we are. And think about it. Have we missed anything? And as these things start tumbling into place, they aren't coming to me. You don't see, and all these people that attacked us, right? You can't see that they all got together. All the people who loved us, loved me, followed me for years and years. You know, those moles, those libertarians, that's Aaron Day. And all we've got to do, right? And that could be the DOJ. How do we know Sununu's not involved? It's his ass too. What we have to do is investigate it. So everything I'm sending about them, I'm sending to the DOJ too. Let's play, shitheads. Now, I gave you Luke Cabrasi. I'll tell you a story. Man, I got to write this shit down.
Yeah, I know.
I owned a company as a kid, GBS, Gill's Business Sales. I was the first one registered in the state of New Hampshire as not as a real, but as the ability to sell businesses. We didn't even have back then anybody that did that. So I started selling businesses. And then one of the business with Luca Brasi, I went to, was a Woburn pizza place. I think there was 3 of them. They had a chain of 3. I walk in, this big guy, and I'm going, that's a fucker from The Godfather. It turns out that Luca was a professional wrestler. And then all his wrestling pitches are all around the pizza place. So he wasn't an actor at all. He was a professional wrestler.
Oh.
Yeah. So when I met him, I listed one of the pizza place that I was in.
Yeah.
So, but that's how I met him. I'll go, that's Luca Brasi. You better not screw up.
You know?
But this next podcast we're doing now, understand the importance of this. I'm going to tie the other one in, right? You're left with me and those doors. Arizona, New Hampshire. Ariel told you what was in New Hampshire and that I discovered it. And who was behind the door? Which is also Flynn. Now, why did Ariel do it? Because Flynn can't blackmail these assholes unless he's leverage. So you know what Ariel do? This is what we got. Gill gave it to us. How about this? Pop, pop, pop. Right? And what did Patrick just post today? Hey, copy everything Gill has. Right. Itemize it. Put it in there. It's worth money. It's worth money. Wow, I'm glad I can help all you rat bastards. It's worth money. Blackmail and extortion helps him out. What, did he get kicked out of the club? So look forward to that next one. And as you're seeing, listen, this is no game for me. You have these clowns doing podcasts and so forth. I'm not a podcaster. I was a wealthy, famous man. I just watched the Travers. I just watched Saratoga. Do you know I broke the fucking record for wins there in a season? You know, big fucking trophy. And I'm in here watching the Travers run. I'm watching it from Saratoga. And I'm saying, who could believe this? Tell me this ain't a movie. I'm watching this, right? And saying, that's who I was. I wasn't just one of the billionaires. I beat them. For instance, Sovereignty, who won Travers. It's owned by Godolphin. It's the Crown Prince of Saudi fucking Arabia. I was beating the Saudis. Right, with this. And if it wasn't a fucking genius, you explain it. And I'm thinking, hey, listen, you're 69, you're ready to fucking leave. You tell me why. Tell me how. And I said, what did Trump and Musk say they had? Big balls.
Big balls. Yeah.
Bullshit. You see this tooth? I was saying it. I can't get it fixed. I got to super glue it because they won't put it on the top. Anyhow, you know what Trump said? I've never been in a fight. I've never been punched in the face. You know what I say? It means you never stood up for something. From a child to a young man growing up. You bit your wrist. I had a couple of chips here and there. I gave more chips than I got. I can tell you that. But you have to fight for what's right. When I saw someone being bullied, you know, I watched a movie one day called My Bodyguard. That's what I was. There's some. It's just that I never lost the job, and you keep on being sheep. You keep needing bodyguards because you're not thinking for yourself. And these predators, for all this podcasters, come to you, including a Michelle Moore, and they come in faith. They're predators, all of them, and they're all getting rich. Really. Did you notice how they just Trump? They're indicted a couple people of bank mortgage fraud.
Rich
Remember, I told you
fraud. Yeah.
you can't lie on it. They're saying, hey, they didn't. It's a second home, and they didn't call it a principal. Let's put him to jail. You know what the difference in the rate is? A quarter. $8. But we'll put you in jail for mortgage fraud, right? Which is why Michelle paid cash, by the way. If
Right.
you wanted to audit them all the podcasters, they're all screwed. Hey, tell them about sovereignty. They love to hear that shit.
Yeah. A lot of them fell for that too.
Oh, but my point being is they could all go down. So I would sleep tight because the more I shake this tree, everybody involved with me and two of those podcasters are suspects. And if they're going to start cutting the low fruit, they're coming at. Why do you think Elvira was hiding? That's why. This is still, they got to go through me or kill me. Now, if they kill me, although they killed Epstein, you didn't get that smart. Oh, I'll bet you he didn't kill himself. Then what? It's the Epstein files. That's why they killed him. That's why they're going to let Maxwell go. Now, do they have the option to kill me? I've been a useful blackmail instrument for all of them. But maybe the game has come to an end, one way or the other. Because if Flynn wants to go anywhere, he has aspirations. Or when he does, seeing his boys are now running the FBI. What the fuck, right? I mean, the criminals running the asylum, something like that.
Yeah.
But that's where we are. But he's going to have enemies. And those enemies know me. Now, chances are they all suck. But now, if I can take them and pit them against them, and they will come, let's put it this way, they have come. But let's see where we can take it. Okay. All right, Crash.
Okay, Mike. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.